Okay, so right now we are thinking about smart hospital applications of some of service robots like this, for example, the logistics robots or rehabilitation robots. And we would imagine that would be working as a licensed technology or R&D alliance or some kind of a spin-off company. Do you guys have any other project to show?
Yeah, if you ask your questions a bit, just to avoid confusion, because she has some questions.
Oh, okay. After you finish,
you can.
you finish the question, then
We can start. Because we have a project about the autonomous navigation technology.
Oh, so there's a few things that you want to go to.
This is just this
okay.
topic. So I think if you have questions, so we can relate directly to the
Yeah. Okay.
confused.
This is the one you prepared, right?
Okay, so the first question we have was how do you envision for the company with respect to robotics, computer vision, and AI?
So it doesn't have to be related.
not related
Okay, so in Robo, what we do is we do like a systems integration. So we also sell hardware, and we also do hardware software integration, and we also do hardware integration and cross-platform integration. So what I see in that question you're asking is that basically hardware and AI and computer vision. So I think when you say robotics as a whole, so it's the combination of all these, right? So like the actual physical hardware plus the sensing tools. So whether is it vision or is it say tactile, or is it force feedback or any kind of other kinds of sensing feedback, and also the computing of part of it, which is the AI. You can call it AI, you can call it a simple control system, is also possible. So definitely when you go forward and you want to build a full-fledged robot, right, then all this has to be has to come together. But for us, in terms, we're building more based on a solution or based on a requirement. So it could have all these combined, but sometimes most of all, I think AI right now is still not that strong in terms of doing a lot of processing for a specific or a general task. So maybe like when you do for a specific application, it's more just on the hardware itself and doing feedback systems using some kind of maybe it could be a machine learning using a neural network to do object recognition, for example, or also can do voice recognition to give it commands and move forward and things like that. So yeah, so like I say, so I think it's all this may be required, but not necessarily everything has to come together.
Maybe with regards to end effectors, what are the current problems that normally like your clients face with respect to end effectors? Like what are the things they need?
Okay, so end effectors, what I understand of end effectors is basically for robotic arms, right? So for robotic arms, the end effector is that basically that last portion where you use to do your work. Right? So what clients usually do is they won't know what to use, and they would just usually when you buy an arm, when they say we need an arm to do something, right? They will just use depending on the clients also. So if it's a SME or a manufacturing client, they would know roughly what they want for this job. So if it's like a screwing, welding, doing some pick and place sorting, it could be depending on the application itself, meaning the thing that they're actually applying on. So you might know whether this should be a vacuum sucker, it should be a gripper, it should be a hand, and things like that. So, but sometimes if it's a lesser, a smaller company, for example, they wouldn't know what thing is good for the purpose. So maybe if they're working on something that's fragile, they wouldn't know which gripper would be the best, or if it should be a vacuum sucker, or should it be just a simple hand, or things like that. So it's more on when they want to do something, what is the cost benefit to use what kind of end effector to do it.
Customized for that.
Yes, customized for that. Because generally the arms when you buy, they are is fixed. It's not fixed in terms of the end effector. You can attach different effectors to it. You can attach hands to it, like shadow hand. You can attach other brands of hands. You can attach standard grippers or vacuum pumps. It's all possible. So it depends on the application, really. Yeah.
Maybe with regards to the pain point, is there anything that current technology end effectors are unable to achieve? Like certain functions, certain roles?
I think it's still depending on the scenario. Because if it's a manufacturing scenario, I would say most of the things can be done quite readily available on the market. So whether it's all the screwing, welding, pick and place, pelleting, it's all relatively developed. So
And service robots?
in service robots, I would say it's a bit different because service robots you are more like human interactions, and it's in environments where there is people. So in factories or manufacturing lines, product lines, there's very limited people. So the manipulators and defectors are usually large, and they don't really have to care about people entering. So in a service robot kind of scenario, you have to think about whether even do you need an end effector at all, because it could just be it could be a siren, it could be a warning in the terms of like a petrol robot. If it's, for example, if it's those what do you call it, like a rehabilitation robot, so you kind of give the person a bit of a stress relief kind of thing. It doesn't really require a kind of end effector at all. So it's more like a perceptive kind of robot, and it gives you a feel. Yeah. So I don't think in service robot right now, I don't think there's a lot of manipulators or arms that's being used. Probably in warehousing, probably is a bit more prevalent when they do pick and place, like the one you show me. So it's more like a pick and sort and to deliver it to somebody else. Yeah. But at the end, when usually the robots interact with the end users, it doesn't really have to touch the user. But if let's say we go a bit further into the future, then when you say you have humanoid robots, then what should the end effector be? Then definitely it should be a hand. I think that would be a more useful kind of end effector if it's a human interaction. So you want to pass something to the robot, you're familiar with using a hand, and the robot ideally should be similarly to pick it up from you using a hand. Yeah, so I would say in that case it would be more like using a humanoid hand as an end effector.
Could you perhaps give us a price range for this type of end effector? Maybe the one that you showed.
That one hard to say, but I mean in
Just a rough ballpark figure.
because usually grippers range depending on size also.
Yeah.
So if it's a factory one that ABB sells, it could go up to a few hundred thousands or tens of hundreds of thousands. But if it's for smaller, lower end, so if for example the hands, it's probably around 10K, 10K to 15K.
Other than size, are there any other factors that will differentiate?
Yeah,
the price range?
how good it is. So how many DOF it has, does it give any sensory feedback, does it give tactile feedback, what is the weight kind of loading it can do, and the power consumption, and the accuracy, precision, all those takes into account. So for example, out there's some sensory feedbacks that's provided by this company called SingTouch. So they have a product called Biotech, and it's a sensory feedback for hands and for end effectors. So one sensor costs about I think 15K, and it's just a weight, right? And the hand itself probably costs about the same price if you compare. So it's really depending on how much technology is being put into it. Yeah.
So apart from maybe healthcare and environment, do you foresee any application for this kind of technology?
For any factor.
Yeah.
I mean,